let's go ahead and get started. Thank you very much for being here. Let me share the screen. That'll certainly make things easier for everybody to see. Okay, everybody got it? Good, good, good. Dave Hamilton checking in shortly. If he can figure out how to unmute himself when he gets on. Dave, can you hear us?
Hey, Fred.
So, Mr. Hackman, tell us what happened. So, Dave's sites were hacked, and he should share this information with everybody that's a JV partner.
It was the man trying to bring me down. That's what it was.
There's a Russian man trying to bring me down.
Well, I don't know if you saw, it looked like an Islam flag, and the first thought came to my mind is Al Qaeda. They got me. But apparently, yeah. Do you want me to start, Fred? Or
yeah, go.
Okay. Here's the bottom line is nice. Woke up Sunday morning, slow morning coffee, get an email. Dave, I saw one of your sites is hacked. And so I look over and it's that big scare. I don't know if you guys saw it. Black screen, red text.
Yep.
And I said, oh, man. And I looked all of the sites on that Bluehost account, which were about 50, all the exact same thing.
Wow.
So I looked through which sites they were, and Fred, there were a couple of our shared ones, a couple of my client sites, my web marketing magician. So the first call, to make a long story short, Bluehost does backups, and they do daily backups, they do weekly backups, and monthly. So it was a fairly easy process to revert back to a version that was fine, which I did. And then incidentally, 24 hours later, I got hacked again, which now is just annoying. But here's what the takeaway for everybody is: the three biggest ways people get hacked. One is they have very, very weak passwords. And Fred, I'd like to show you something. If you can go to a browser to show somebody. This is, the website is howsecureismypassword.net.
Yeah, you got to be sure these guys are secure because you're putting your password in there.
Well, I thought that's exactly what I thought. I'm like, man, these guys are raking them in. They collect IPs and passwords. But let's just say most people's password, to be honest, is their dog Fluffy, and then when they graduated high school, so like Fluffy 88, and it would take them about 3 hours to hack that. And so you can just play around. If you put an exclamation point after that, you can see that it increases. The longer it is, the more capitalization, lowercase you do, the more punctuation you stick in there. And my password now, and I'm not going to tell you guys, I picked a Bible verse, and I put the first letter of every letter with capitalization, with punctuation, and I think, according to this, it would take like 12 trillion years to brute force hack it.
Is that because it was referring to a Bible verse?
It's 12 trillion years till the end of the world comes.
Oh, no,
God is your protector.
I was wondering if because you were using a Bible verse, you got some kind of extra protection.
Well, God help me with the verse. No, it's
God help you from getting hacked again. Huh?
Right. Hey, that's a website. I should write that ebook.
There you go.
But here's the bottom line: have a long password with punctuation and capitalization, and don't use the same password for every account. And most people say, "Oh, that's going to get so complicated." You don't want to get hacked. And luckily, it was my bank account that got hacked, or and something worse. But so anyway, Fred, that's number one. The second thing that I didn't do, which came back to bite me in the behind, is update my WordPress installation. and when you log into a WordPress site, one of the first things it says is there's a newer version available. Click here to update automatically.
Now, I know that Stanley, for some reason, said we don't always update immediately because of
Yeah, it'll
something.
mess it up. That's what Harold and Stanley both told me. I say, hey, look, it says there's an update available. Why aren't we updating? They said, you've got so many plugins on there that may not work with the new version. We're paranoid about updating.
Well,
So you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place there.
you're right, and there's the balance. But the flip side of that is upgrading the plugins because they make new versions. And
Yeah.
and here's the mindset: is the way hackers can get into uh, my situation. They could either hack a password for my WordPress install or my cPanel on Bluehost, or they can go in through security holes in WordPress. And most of the time, WordPress updates are to patch holes that are there.
Yep.
And I tell people, when for the PC people, when that annoying window comes and says, there's a new version of Microsoft Windows, would you like to upgrade? I say, always do it.
By the way,
They're not trying
this is what
to,
Sabrina studied at MIT was computer security. So I'm sure that, it's changed since she was studying this, but all of this stuff, I mean, I remember when she first looked at my software that I was going to use for membership sites, and she said, you got security holes big enough you can drive a truck through.
yeah, yeah. And the fact that big companies like Microsoft or WordPress, they are continually fighting to patch leaks. Makes me think, all right, if they come out with one, you're right, Bill, there may be a chance that this plugin has a conflict, and I've had that, but that's very, very rare to me. But, upgrading to the latest security, to me, is worth it. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave,
Well worth
question
it
for
to me.
you. If
Sure.
you upgrade to the latest version of WordPress and for some reason a plugin doesn't work, aren't those people, they see those upgrades immediately and immediately start checking their plugins, correct?
Who are those people?
The people who made the plugins. I mean, because they
Oh,
have
yeah.
WordPress sites as well. They're building stuff to go on WordPress sites. I would think that if I owned a plugin company that made plugins for WordPress, as soon as I saw a WordPress announcement, within minutes I would be checking to make sure my plugins were working.
Absolutely, 100%. And the nice thing about it is you don't have to go searching through all the plugin sites to see what the latest is. It on the same screen that you can upgrade WordPress, it says these 5 plugins you're using all have available updates, and you just click select all, upgrade all, and it's done. It's open source, so there's always a chance there's one thing is going to conflict with another, but like you say, Bill, the flip side is security, so you kind of pick which side you want to lean towards.
Hey, you said 3 ways: bad password, not updating WordPress installations. What
And,
else?
and the other was upgrading the plugins and any scripts that you have running. WordPress upgrade is one you can do right from your Bluehost control panel. The plugins and frankly anything that you add to your site, like for instance, a membership plugin, like you just said, a web form plugin a contact form. All of these have the potential for holes for people to sneak in. So just keep everything upgraded, whether your WordPress install or your extra stuff you add.
Sounds good to me. Bill, did you have another question on that?
No, it just should say not upgrading plugins in Scripture Run just to make it consistent. One time my email started to get just denial of service attack. They sent 10,000 emails every day. Some Russian guys, and my host, which isn't Bluehost, just moved me to a mirror site for a little while. Did whatever they do to that denial of service attack, to respond to that. And then the next day they had me back up, so that was good. But yeah, call your host right away, and just make sure they're in on it. I think that's part of it. That's a good fix.
And Fred, that's a very good point. And Bluehost, I was so impressed. These guys, they were even emailing me afterwards to follow up to see how it was going, which was
Nice.
great. But Fred,
Nice.
there was one other thing I
Yeah,
wanted to mention,
sure.
which I'm going to start doing is backing up your sites yourself. And for people like you and me that have got lots of sites, that may be impractical on the broad spectrum, but there are certain sites that uh, are really important to me. I mean, Fred, I would think fredgleek.com, you want to have a backup of that in a security vault or something like that. So
Yeah, Stanley
there,
has that. He's
yeah,
got that
yeah.
done, and probably should be done possibly as much as daily or every few days.
Yeah. Now let me just throw this out there for the people that don't have a Stanley and are wondering, okay, what are my options for backing up? Um, I, I'm going to put a little thing together, but the way I do it is with that cloning tool.
Yep.
I can make a complete backup of my site, and I mean every graphic, every page, every comment on the post, everything. And if my site caught on fire and burned and it was gone. I mean, it was irrecoverable. I could have it back up and running within 10 minutes with this cloning tool.
Now,
And
let me ask
it's,
a question on that, Dave. So, if
yeah,
I use the coolcloningtool.com, my affiliate link for that product, here's my question. Okay, so I make a clone. Does that clone sit resident on my own hard drive?
well, it's wherever you want it to go. What I do, and this is just my thing, is well, it's what I'm going to start doing. I've done it some, but I'm going to make clones maybe monthly, maybe weekly, and put it on a flash drive and keep that secure.
Yeah, but my
Or
question is, you're not storing it remotely, you're storing it on a local drive.
yes, you download it. You download the clone file to your hard drive.
Hard drive or flash drive.
Correct.
So what you're saying is put it on a flash drive so in case your computer gets stolen or whatever too, you have it there as well.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
Yep, that sounds good. Anything else you learned from this lovely debacle?
Yeah. I mean, the truth of it is, it seemed a little traumatic at the time, but if you get the right host, it's not so bad. And the worst thing that can happen is you lose maybe a week of work that you've done. But it, here's the good news: from within my WordPress cPanel, there's a backup and restore icon. I click that, I pick a date, and it was restored and all the hacking garbage was gone within about 5 minutes. So don't panic. Call your web host if you've got a good one, and they'll walk you through it.
Let me understand this. So in other words, Bluehost is continually copying and creating mirror images of your sites on their servers, which allows you to use this thing that you just talked about, which is the cPanel backup and restore button.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll do it every day, but it replaces the previous day. They
Right.
do it every week, which replaces the previous week, and every month. So if you let it go for longer than a month, you may be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so in other words, if you don't realize your site's been hacked for a month.
Yeah,
Oh
well,
no. Well, yeah.
exactly.
Anybody listening to this call, that's not going to be the case. People are watching their sites like hawks, but the whole beauty is they probably have a schedule, which is at 3 in the morning. They're backing up all the sites onto their own hard drives, and then so if you have a problem, you wake up the next morning, you go back up and restore. It gives you the latest version, unless you were trying to do something in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. And I can't emphasize enough, reevaluate your password selection strategy.
Change your password
Yeah.
selection strategy.
Well, and also get something like 1Password or one of those storage things because that way you don't have to keep the same password for every
I
site, and
would disagree with
that's
that, and
really
I'll tell you why. I would not use a system like you do, Bill, for the following reason. If I'm traveling and I don't have access to that, I know by virtue of the name of my site what my password is, but yet it's sophisticated enough it won't get hacked.
yeah, that's good. But I have it on my iPhone, my iPad, my laptop, and so It's everywhere for me, but
But
my
the
one
thing is,
password.
it's not in your head, and if all those devices are lost, stolen, or broken, I have a
Yeah.
backup. My
But what
question
if you
Well,
is,
lose your mind?
do
yeah,
you?
that's right. What if you lose?
Which
What if you
very
get
well
Well,
can.
dementia? Which we're yeah, which
I
we're
have
worried
no.
about with Fred, actually.
I'm downloading my mind. I think it's every 48 hours now.
I think it's backed up on yeah, I
Yeah,
think
and the
it's
reason
backed
for
up
that
on
is
Dropbox.
I'm scared.
I've
I'm
seen
scared of.
Fred's mind on Dropbox. It
It's a
takes
small
doesn't take that
file.
much bandwidth for
It's a
some reason.
small file.
It's a very
That's two
it's less than
megabytes.
a gig. It's
Well,
less than a
the
gigabyte.
thing about it is I have to back it up because my fear of losing my mind is so great.
No, no, that's fine. But you can back up your one password stuff to all those
Okay, good.
places.
I think that I like
No,
the
I think your
idea.
strategy is really good. I wouldn't tell it to people, but
No,
I
I
think
mean
it's a great
I
strategy.
just think that you can do all kinds of crazy stuff, but I like actually Bill's yours is easier because there's no thinking involved. And so
Right.
what is that one password?
OnePassword.com. Well, OnePassword, I don't know. I don't think that's OnePassword.com. Just look up OnePassword, which is good for Windows and for Macs, but there are other ones for Windows. There's some free ones too. I downloaded. I used to use Pastor. It was a free one for
Is this it?
Macs, and but OnePassword costs you a little money, but
Is this
man,
it?
it's really cool.
Is this it?
That's it.
Okay. That's the one on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like
And
it's
it'll auto sync with all your devices when they're connected, your Android device, your iPad, your iPhone, and it works with Windows or Mac. It's a nice.
excellent. So now this is where you go to get it. It's
Good.
agilebits.com/products/1 password.
But I think having both, like you told me this a while ago, and I thought it was brilliant. You have a particular strategy which generates really strong passwords, like the ones that Dave was talking about, with a formula. And I think that's what people have to get, not do their dog or their birth date or whatever it may be. Those are stupid ones. And actually, Dave, I read an article when some big site was hacked, and they said the most common password people use is password.
Yeah,
The second
exactly.
most common password is 1, 2, 3, 4. And so every hacker tries those first. And it turns out that like 30 to 40% of people, those are their passwords.
What
It's
a
not even
bunch of
fun for the
morons.
hackers then.
I
I
think,
know.
hey, Bill DeWeese, I think that those
Yeah,
people deserve to be hacked, don't you?
That's right.
I do. Those idiots.
It's Darwinian. It's Darwinian.
Right, exactly.
so, so anyway, just to remind all you guys, it's March 1 through 3 of next year. So if you, just so you know those dates, and that's not going to change when we're going to have the second annual JV conference here. So, Bill DeWeese, check in. Tell us what you got going on, and then we'll go to Bill here, Bill Lohanlon.
Well, the big thing now is promotion for the audiobook success seminar, which is scheduled for October 1st, and I'm not sure how much everybody knows, but the venue has been booked at no cost to me, which is
Nice.
nice. The bad news is nobody has reserved their spot yet, though I've had several people.
Audiobook success seminar or
No,
something
audiobook
like
Yeah,
that?
seminar. I
well,
screwed that up.
the website's audiobook seminar. I'm
Okay.
strong, yeah.
Yeah, audiobookSeminar.com. This one. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
So like I said, I've had several people. I had somebody else contact me today asking me questions, but nobody has bit yet. But fortunately, our costs are going to be so low. Really, if I had one person, I could cover I could cover our costs and we'd be in good shape. So
My first question
I'm
is, where are the calls coming from? In other words, are they local or within driving
uh,
distance of Chicago?
one. Let's see. One. Yes, there's been three. One, yes. One from Alabama or Georgia, actually, this morning. And the other, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think it was Chicago.
Here's what I would do. I would start to consider giving people that called in some kind of a special deal and just say, since you called in, here's what I'd like you to do. Here's what I'd like to do. The guy from Alabama, you can give him, see if he'll bite if you give him $150 in travel credit towards his plane flight. So he'll get $150 off. The people that are
Okay.
local to Chicago, just
Yeah.
say that you want to give them some kind of a special deal. Give them $100 off if they decide it by within the next 24 hours. So in other words, let's get somebody to make a decision because let's remember, as you and I have spoken about, but everyone else listening on the call has not heard this. Why don't you just tell them what I told you about this event and what we're really doing here and what really matters.
Yeah, well, Fred said the big thing is, as long as we don't lose money, this is a good venture for us because we're going to videotape and audio tape the event. So, worst case scenario, we walk out with the product.
Yep. Yep. And I think that, so here, Bill was lucky enough to get his venue for free. And I told him,
How did you do that?
yeah, well, okay, tell him how you did that, Bill.
It's at the university where I used to teach.
Ah, okay.
The radio station there is a teaching facility with like 6 individual recording studios.
What's their website? Let's bring it up.
The website for the university or for the radio station? There's station's shine.fm. That's where we'll be at.
Shine.fm.
Right. Station I used to manage.
So this is it. So this is a Christian radio station.
Right.
And
it's
so
nonprofit.
They are letting you, use their facility, and in exchange for, well, one of the things we had to do, because we're doing it this property, Bill interviewed me, and I said a 4-letter word, so he had to go back and edit that. Because, and I mean, my bad on that, because actually I had a conversation with Sabrina about that, and she said, you should probably make sure that you keep your mouth clean on just a general basis whenever you're doing anything public, because it's really
that
tough.
4-letter word wasn't holy, huh, Fred?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. The word was definitely not holy.
Okay.
But it's
it wasn't that bad, but yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to have that.
It was
I think it's a good idea. There are some people that get offended by that stuff, no matter whether they're Christian or not.
Yeah, it was the poop word, which wasn't as bad as the F words.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean,
hey, and by the way, here's a side note to all of that: is that I sent a video email to the station manager and program director to talk to them about it, and they flipped over the email. They're going to start using it because they're a donor supported station, so they're going to start using it to their listeners and their the people who donate money. And the guy, kind of their lead on that, actually signed up to be a reseller yesterday.
Nice. So now you know what. Everybody thinks I'm just trying to promote this sucker because I make money. Come on, guys. The whole idea here is let me tell you what happened to me yesterday, Bill, just to support this. I went into Apple to do one of my one-on-one deals, which, by the way, the guy that I had yesterday, of all the one-on-ones that I've ever had, this is when you buy a new computer at the Mac store, you can sign up for $99 to get up to 52 weeks of one-to-one training once a week. It is the absolute best deal on the planet. You're brain dead stupid if when you buy a Mac you don't do this. This is just unbelievable training. So I go in there, I'm talking to the guy for a little while, and I said to him something, and he said, because we were setting up my mail account on the mail server for the Mac, and he says, "What's this?" I go, "Oh, it's video email." He says, "Wow, that's really cool. What does it look like?" So I showed it to him. He goes, "Holy crap, I've never seen that before." So I mean, this is a guy who's a tech head over at Apple who got excited about this, and I said to him, I said, I think it's sort of clever, but what's really important to me is, and obviously this is the only thing I give a rat's behind about. By the way, notice I stepped away from the bad words.
Behind.
Oh, wow.
Increase conversion rates. So that's what it's all about. If they increase conversion, so tell the story, Bill. I want to hear this because, so to give people the progression, you sent the guy, how'd it work?
Right. I sent the station manager and the program director a video email and say, hey, I want to meet with you guys and talk to you about something. Well, they said, yeah, great, let's get together. And so we had lunch. And during the lunch, the station manager said, what is with this email? He said, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. He said, I want that. I want that now. I said, I need to start sending this I can use it in raising funds. And he said, the university might also want to use it in their recruiting efforts. But he said, right now, I want it for the station. So what I did was I contacted Sean Eiferman, which some of you may know. He's from out there in Vegas. He's the guy who actually introduced, or that Fred brought in to kind of explain the whole deal.
Yeah, and he introduced me.
And Sean does a great job. He's a great presenter and just a great guy. And so he did a demonstration for one of the guys at the station yesterday so they could get set up and start using it. And the guy was so impressed with it, he actually ended up signing up as a reseller. So that he could sell it himself to make some money.
Got it. So he signed up as a reseller, and is he then assigning the station up as a reseller under him?
That's a good question. I don't know that. That's something I want to find out, and I haven't been able to talk to anybody to find that out yet.
Yeah, and again, I want to describe to people, everybody in this call, and everybody who watches this or sees this video. This is the difference between push versus pull marketing for me. And I don't think that we need to go out and start doing rah rah stupid MLM kind of like parties for this kind of stuff. I think that's ridiculous. I would never do that. But on the other side, and that I would refer to as push marketing. Pull marketing is exactly what Bill just did. He sent the guy a video email. The guy got to lunch and got excited and sold himself. I don't want to do any pushing. I have no interest in doing pushing. And Bill, you have been very good at using the system religiously whenever you contact new people, correct?
Yeah, I use it for every person who opts in, and got another response today from a guy who was blown away by it. He said, "I've never seen anything like it." He talked about how personal it was. He couldn't believe that I would take the time to send him a personal video email. I get that almost every day.
Yeah. Now the thing about it is that when you respond to those people, here's what I would do. I would say, "Hey, thanks. Yeah, it has been a really great tool for me. If you're doing any businesses all yourself, you may want to sign up to get an account. There are two that you can get. One of them is a personal account for $50, and the other one is a business account where you can sell it yourself for $100. I would respond like that to everyone who was blown away by it.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
And
Because I've really been pretty passive with it. I mean, I've talked to Sean about I'm going to promote it to my list if they would like to use it as a tool, and Sean's going to present it as like a webinar or a webcast, but I haven't done that yet.
I think that's a great way to do it because again, I don't think it's being pushy to an email say, "Hey, really appreciate your response to the video email. It is working pretty well for me. If you ever wanted to, here's my site. You can go set up your own, and they've got two versions of it. Again, not pushy." He asked,
Right.
he asked, you responded, and so if he was impressed receiving it, he probably would want to do the same and be, express, he would get people interested. And this is where Avish, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
I'm just literally amazed. But in general, and I hate to say this, but a lot of speakers are stupid. But I'm amazed that speakers don't get this as to why it's so important for them as a business. I don't know how many speakers are using video email, but in my opinion, all of them should be because this medium is all about speaking. It's not about writing. So if you're a speaker, my God, one would think that video email would be perfect for what you're trying to do. And I frankly, I don't get it. Now, Bill, do you think that the fact that you're in a business that uses your voice, that this is important because of that?
I thought about that. I don't think it's so much that. I think it's just because it connects on such a personal level. When they hear their name, they see my face, not because they see my face, but, I'm saying their name. They know it's to them. It's not to a group. And they talk about how personal it is.
Okay, cool. So let's shift to the topic having to do with the seminars itself. So tell people what's going to happen at this seminar. First off, did you by any chance, one of the discussions that Bill DeWeese and I had offline was, now that he's doing the seminar, the most important thing is to get a video and audio tape. Have you located somebody cheap or free to do that?
Yeah, I'm working on it. Actually, my first preference, I have actually a former student of mine who's a meteorologist at the ABC station in Chicago who is a videographer, and he just turned me down. He's not going to be able to do it. So I've actually got my wife looking at the university, and I've got another guy to talk to. But no, I have not nailed that down yet.
Yeah, well, the thing is that as soon as getting the venue selected is important, and if you don't have your own equipment, and unfortunately, although I am going to check airfares just to make sure that I can't come out there and do that all for you. Now that I have figured it out exactly how to do it myself, I needed a one-to-one on that, but it wasn't from Apple. So it's important to make sure that if you're doing these events, that you now if Bill was doing 3 or 4 of these a year, I'd tell him to buy the equipment. But since he's doing one, we're going to see how it goes. Let's make some money from this before we start investing in equipment. And I think last time we talked about it, it was like, for a bunch of good stuff, it was like about $2,500, $3,000 for all the equipment. But once you buy it once, you own it forever.
Hey, Fred, can I ask a quick question with that? What's your take on, because I'm doing a similar one coming up for a client, what's your take on 1 camera versus 2 camera setups and go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. You finish the question.
Well, I know it's not a huge amount more because they're already going to be there, but the editing can give a more professional feel. Is it worth it in your mind?
Well, let's talk about what happens here. First off, when you use, let me just put it as this, more than one camera, you now have a couple of different options. Your two primary options are what's called live switching, and you have editing after the fact, which is basically you take two sets of tape into the edit suite or two sets of digital material and you edit afterwards. First off, as all of you know, I'm not a big proponent, especially when it comes to education materials, of spending a lot of time in the editing suite, whether it's audio, video, or whatever. So this now, by the way, when you say more than one camera, you really should be saying more than one input. So that theoretically, because I have a switching device, something called a data video switcher, which allows for 4 inputs, 3 of which could be cameras and 1 of which could be the computer feed, so that you could actually mix in your PowerPoint or your keynote presentation right on the fly. So if you picture this, there's a machine with 4 buttons, A, B, C, and D. It represents each of your 4 sources. Those could be cameras and or computer inputs. So now what happens is whoever the quote-unquote director is watching all 4 monitors just like they do at the Oscars, but they have about 80 cameras. And they're choosing the shot that people see. So that this is called, so live switching is really editing on the fly. So all of that is to say that that person, the decision that you will make depends on how flashy and how flashy the person wants it and how big a budget they have. So how big a budget do they have? How much are they willing to spend? Do they have plenty of money and they don't care about cash?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well, we got a quote for $1,300 for 2 high-def cameras, but no switching on the site.
Okay,
and
2 high-def cameras for how long? 1 day?
For 3 hours.
For 3 hours. I didn't think it was going to be a day. So you got 2 high-def cameras for $1,300. What does that include? 2 people shooting as well, or does that include and an audio guy? What's the quote?
It's 2 people shooting, and assuming that they're going to provide us with the 2 hard drives with each camera, but they're the same type of audio. The same type of video it'll match, and the audio is from the lapel mic that the speaker's using.
Okay, so now are they giving you the hard drives, or are you supplying them the hard drives?
They're giving you the hard drives.
So part of the deal of $1,300 includes the 2 hard drives.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the next question. This is important for everyone too. The next question you have to ask is, why are you shooting in high def?
Because the quality would better. It's going to be on a DVD that we're handing out, and I just assumed that that's a good thing to do.
Okay, so let me then further this question. So the primary means of distributing this video will be through physical hard disk, correct?
Correct.
Okay, in that case, high definition cameras. Now, what kind of an event is this?
It's really, I think it's kind of like Bill's in that it's going to be, the whole purpose is to record it. So it's a seminar, 3-hour seminar. On negotiating.
Oh, this is your dad now, right?
Exactly.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Is there anything in what your dad is doing that you think requires, like, remember when we switched over and now we got both options, where you can go onto the Discovery Channel and you can see, gazelles running through the fields, and you can see it in regular definition or high def? Is there any reason why we need to see every pore on your dad's face?
No, not really.
Okay. So the reason why you're doing this is because you've now been convinced by all of the media that high definition is the way to go for everything, which they've done a really good job on that. In my opinion, for your dad's seminar on negotiating, now again, if your dad wants to spend the money, there's a couple of downsides to this. The high definition stuff that you'll get requires you to import these huge, massive files that they need to hand you over a hard drive for. You dealt with that with Milanowski's stuff. Did you find that enjoyable?
Not at all.
Okay.
It was huge, huge amounts of data.
My personal opinion is And if does your dad own any camera equipment already? By the way, for those of you who don't know, Dave Hamilton's dad is a very, very well-known speaker in the negotiating field, specifically in the real estate market.
Yeah, Keep Negotiating is his site.
Yeah. Does your dad own any equipment?
No, he doesn't.
Does he anticipate doing this and recording stuff again?
No.
He doesn't.
No, well, he usually gets asked to speak, and they do the recording
Okay,
for
gotcha.
him.
So here's what I would do if I were him. I would go out and buy 2 Canon Vixia video recorders. Each of those costs around $400 each from B&H. So he's now $500. He's now $500 below his thing right now. I'd buy some SD cards. This is only going to a 3-hour event. He may need 2 SD cards. That's going to cost him, and 2 for each camera. So $100 or less for the SD cards. You can now, the only other thing you'll need is if somebody doesn't have one, you can borrow a tripod from someone. You can set these up. You might have to buy some remote microphones, and I just did a thing on the blog about that. So you know what? I'm willing to bet that for $1,300 that you're going to pay these two guys to come in for this shoot. You could buy and own all this equipment that you could use him or anybody else again and again and record the grandkids, whatever you want. And you will now own all of this equipment, and you will be able to take those SD cards, put them into your Mac computer, do the editing yourself, and this would be a huge time and money saver.
That's actually very good advice. Here's my only question is, are there any technical things that, like you got one shot at it and you don't want to screw up the audio or the video levels, or, is it just turn it on, start shooting? And
it is pretty close to that. Okay. So now when is this event being held?
It's not till November.
Oh God. Yeah. You know what? First thing is, and I know you've been reading my blog like carefully every day, so I won't really have to tell you this. But Absolutely. If you go to fredgleeck.com/blog, I have a post that I just did on all of this to set it up so that you will not have, if you buy the same equipment that I have or close to it, you will be able to, let me just find this. There's the popover. Okay. Audio systems for recording live seminars. This includes the video camera input. And this particular thing, I have certain equipment in there. And in the event that, this is the whole thing right here. And I would go through this. The answer is, I could figure this out going to Guitar Center, asking some questions. So what you're really going to, now here's the question. How many people are going to be in the room?
At most 40.
Okay. Now, 40 people, and we said 3 hours, right?
Yes.
And let me ask you this. Will Dad be using any amplification or just projecting his nice booming voice?
Yeah, probably no amplification.
No amplification. Okay, so this means that you have a couple of choices. You can either, what I would do is I would there's some stuff, and maybe I should show it to you so that everybody can see this here. So let's go to BH Photo. By the way, is this helpful to everybody else?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So bnhphoto.com, we're going to go to, what are they? Wireless mics. Wireless lavalier mics. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to B&H. Here's I think this is probably the system that I have right here. These are Amplivox. No, I've got Audio Technica. Right, these. I got these, but there's actually some cheaper ones. Let me sort this by price, and let me just show you this. So let's sort by price, low to high. Let's see here. Okay, so one wireless microphone system for camcorders. Boy, that's dirt cheap. but it's got 3 stars on the review. Here's the one that I have right here. This thing works like a champ. Let me show you what this is. What you could do is this, and your dad, given the fact that he speaks a lot, this won't be a problem. Can you see this on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, you see this one over here, the one with the long antenna, the black antenna there?
Yes.
I put some Velcro on the inside, the other side of this thing that you can't see, and I put some Velcro on the tripod so I can hook it onto the tripod because that's the receiving unit. This unit here is the speaking unit, the microphone. So what I would do is I'd get 2 of these so that you'd have one for each camera, and then what happens is out of this device, there's what's called a mini plug out that goes right into the mini plug in on the Canon Vixia. So you're going to be recording audio directly into the camera with no amplification, and this is a no-brainer solution. So if we take a look at this, ×2, you're looking at add to cart here, you're looking at view cart. We're looking at about $250, I'm sure, including shipping. So here's $239 plus shipping, so it's about $250. So going back to our old thing here, you're looking at, and again, so we're looking at Canon Vixia's $400 each. The 2 microphones are $250 total. We need some SD cards, which are going to be about $100. And so now we're looking at, what else did we need? I forget. SD cards. I don't think we need
Camera tripod.
Okay, tripod if you don't have them. By the way, just got some great tripods. They're $75 each, so that'd be $150. So if you total that up, that's $250, that's $500, that's $900. You're less than your $1,300.
You probably need a mixer too.
No, you don't. Not for the solution I just described. In fact, a mixer could be used as a paperweight given the solution.
And would you just then import these into iMovie or Final Cut or something like that?
Yeah, and just to go back to what Bill said, the reason why you don't need a mixer is because you're doing 2 independent mics, so he's going to be wearing 2 lavalier mics that are going directly into the cameras. And the reason why I'm doing that is I'm trying to make the simplest solution rather than having to go through the mixer. Now, if you go to my little blurb that I did on the blog, yes, you can use the mixer and do all that. But if we're looking for simple, stupid-proof solution, this is it. So now what happens is the SD cards, which, by the way, and here's something that I got from my one-to-one yesterday at the Mac store, is I said, hey, at what level of, because on the Vixia, you're going to have 5 levels of recording quality. There's the super high, there's the high, there's the medium, and I'm not calling, there's obviously the low, and then there's super low. So this and this, you never want to use. Don't use those. This one takes up too much space. It's overkill. You're going to test the second and the third level when you get the camera to see which one is acceptable by recording 2 minutes on it, going back, putting in your Mac, flipping out a DVD, and seeing what it looks like. And I will bet you, for the purposes we're talking about here, with good lighting, these 2 will be virtually negligible in terms of their quality. So what that allows you to do then is to record all the 3 hours probably on 1 large SD card, but you might need 2. I mean, your dad will probably take a break halfway through, right?
Yeah, well, 2 breaks.
Okay.
50 minutes break, 50 minutes break.
Okay, here's what I would do personally. I would then have, since you have 2 cameras, I would get 6 SD cards. And I would have each one of them carrying each section separately. So I would flip out the SD card when he takes a break every time.
That is actually awesome. Now, last question. I mean to hijack the call. Regarding the HD thing.
Yes.
Compared to the high quality here, if you were to put it on a DVD and watch it on a big screen TV, what's your feel of the difference, and how important that might be?
It's a very good question. And the difference between, now let's just get one thing into perspective. We go back here to B&H's site. Now I just want to show you that, let me give you some real information here on this, which is, let's go to camcorders. And let's go to Video Professional, which is, I just clicked on the wrong one there. Video Professional. So let's see here. Camcorders, these are pro camcorders, right? at Pro Camcorders, chances are this guy is probably using this Canon HD XA. I actually had one of these that I sold. Let's just assume he was using this camera that he spent $2,000 for. Probably if he bought it a few months or weeks ago, he's probably paying $2,500 to buy the camera. He's got two of those, so he's got $5,000 invested in equipment. If you take his output, chances are, you know what? Since he wanted to give you a hard drive, he may have a better camera. You take his output on that camera and compare it to the output you get with good lighting, decent lighting. The difference is going to be, if his is 100, yours is going to be a 92.
Okay, that says a lot, and that's I think what I'm hearing is people. It may not be the best of the best of the best, but it is still very, very good.
Yeah, but now let me give you the alternate response. You now said to me, you know what, Fred, there's a good chance that Dad's going to do a deal with PBS and this is going to be broadcast. My answer would be different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now we do need, because if you record something at the highest level possible, it just like with music, and Bill is a musician for so many years, it's easy to bump things down. You can't bump it up. You can't improve quality after the fact.
Yeah. 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 Okay. I got you. I got you.
So the biggest question here is, to start with, and what I probably should have asked first, but I knew your dad wasn't doing this, is, are you going to be broadcasting this?
No.
Are you going to broadcast? If you're not, then I think it makes no sense to do anything other than the solution I just described to you. Provided that. Now, is this going to be done in a hotel room?
No, I hate lighting in hotel rooms. I found a conference room that has pretty good lighting. Lighting always, to me, is the wild card.
Well, the thing that you'll get used to, if you were to go place your order today for all this equipment and had a month or so, or even if you had 3 to 5 days to play with this equipment, what you'd be working with to make sure you got it right is what's called the white balance. And you would play around. I would go to the room, find out what kind of lights they have in there, and do a quick test, and just make sure you had that right. If you did that right, the quality that you're going to get, unless you're going to broadcast, is negligibly different.
Awesome. Awesome. Very, very helpful stuff. I appreciate that.
I'm sure that a lot of people probably could benefit from what we just did.
Yeah.
Good deal. So, Bill, any comments on that from the your side? You've done. Oh, by the way, I did talk to Dan about. He was asking me about doing video production.
Yeah.
Which I you know what? Not my job. I don't think. I'm not.
No, I think I would take that up.
Not what I want to be doing.
No, Dan is a mutual conference organizer that
Great
Fred
guy.
and I are working with. U.S. Journal Training is the name of their place. So what I'll say, well, just a little follow up on Dave's thing is, I had the possibility of a PBS thing, and we hired those people it was way more expensive in those days for the best quality video, and we didn't sell it to PBS. So if PBS comes knocking, you hire guys for $1,300.
Yep.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
You redo it. I wouldn't worry about it, and it wasn't that great quality, but it was some years ago. So let me just check in, Fred, with one of our joint projects and let people know what's happened with it. We did sort of a launch. It was inadvertent because we had put the launch date as August 15th, and I had a week ago, thinking we'd be done with the launch setup, just set an automatic email on my autoresponder, which was a shame in a certain way because we weren't quite ready, but launch went okay. We have Fred and I jointly do, in addition, Fred and I do another one, but we do a coaching group on helping people focus and write and get their books published. And so it's publishingabook.com is the name of it. And so we went out mostly to my list, and that's all the response we've gotten so far, that automated email that went out on Monday morning. And it was good email. And we can take 18 people in the coaching group at $297 a piece, and actually they have to sign up for 3 months. So the total they have to pay is $891. And we have 16 people out of those 18 that have responded. It's Wednesday now, so in the 2 days. And they've gotten approved. Well, we had a bunch of people apply, and we had to approve them. So we approved 16 people 5 people have actually paid the money at this point, and if they don't pay over the next couple of days, they probably lose their spot because we'll probably get 18 or more applicants. So what that works out to, if you just want to know the launch, what we've done with it, is if everybody pays, and we assume they will, that'll bring in 14,256 bucks. And there's actually one person that got a discount because she's already in another speaking coaching program. So it's knock $300 off that basically. So it's about 14,000 bucks. And Fred and I share that profit through the way we've got our setup. And so it's basically comes down to 7,000 a piece for each of us, and 2,326.50 a month for us as income. And we do 2 phone calls, and they get access to a bunch of products, and we interact with them on the message board. We have a group discussion and support board. So not bad for, and we probably get the next 2, so it'll be a little higher than that. And so what messed up on the launch, just to give you a cautionary tale, when my automated email went out, is that Stanley didn't have the site ready yet, and we wanted to do this downsell to a $97 possibility for either people that couldn't get in the $297 if it was already filled, which it will be soon, or the people who couldn't afford it and didn't want to make that kind of investment. So it didn't get automated, the downsell. So what I'll probably do is I'll send out another email saying we've got only 2 more spaces left in the the live coaching program. But if you don't get on that, which most of you won't, and you don't want to invest so much money, you can do this $97 program, which is self-paced. And we're going to give, they can buy it month to month for $97, or they can buy the whole 12-month series of modules, which is sequentially laid out about how to write your book and get it published, for $900. So they get a $265 discount if they sign up for that. And as Fred's writing, if they don't sign up for anything, or we give them a gift to get on our list for future notifications. And they can also buy any of the individual products. And the individual products are worth about $6,000, maybe $7,000. We haven't added up recently. We've added some more. It was over $6,000 last time. So it's a better deal to buy into the self-paced program. And but if they want to buy individual products, great. We make money that way. So there's 2 passive income options for us. And that is if they buy individual products, or if they get into this $97 program, $97 a month program. So we haven't sold any of those yet, partly because it wasn't working. I only sent 1 person to the site so far, but I will send out an email, and so will Fred, offering that once the other program is close to full or maybe filled.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that, I don't think we have an affiliate program set up for this, but just because everybody's in the group here, we should be, jointly sort of promoting everybody's stuff. I would suggest that if you guys, just let your list know about this if you think it's relevant to them. The other thing, Bill, why don't you talk to them about, which is one of the things you're already doing, these programs, both for speaking that we're doing, Bill, Avish, and myself, and just publishing, which is just Bill and myself. One of the things that we were thinking of is we need some people to go after they're done with the 6 months or the year or however long they work with us. So talk to them about your next level concept.
Yeah, what sort of inspired these groups was that I've been doing for close to 2 years now, or no, 1.75 years. I've been doing a group that I call the Next Level Coaching Group, mentoring group, where I started with 15, now I have about 9 people at $500 a month getting coaching from me about how to do internet marketing, info products, be speakers, be writers, just personal coaching too with them, life coaching, for getting over their barriers and why they're not getting stuff done, things like that. So Fred and I thought we'd also create something even a little cheaper than that. I'm at $400 a month now. I dropped my price for that other one. And so we decided to do it for a little less than $300 a month for people who had already been through our previous coaching programs and now didn't have any place to go and wanted that ongoing support. So we we've reserved nowbuildyourempire.com. We're going to do it for graduates of any of our programs to come in and just have the ongoing support and ideas and live coaching again. Same thing.
Excellent.
It's 2 calls a month for the book writing one and 3 calls a month for the speaking one that Avisha's in. So that's that.
Yeah,
and we're going to launch the speaking one in a couple of days as soon as that gets ready, because we don't want to send out emails before it's ready. And it's the exact same structure, basically.
Yeah, excellent. That's going to be the one for speakers coming up. And just to show you, I mean, if you guys don't want to get this ambitious and do something like this, just do something like this. Just feel free, and I've told people to copy this site. Just go ahead and do this. Look at this super easy basic site, which, by the way, if you have coolcloningtool.com, you can clone it and put one up in a matter of minutes for yourself. So regular monthly coaching on information marketing from one of the top experts, blah, blah, blah about me. And then I just have them fill in this form and boom, submit. So if you want to do coaching on your own, and now, Bill DeWeese, did you get yours up yet? Is that?
Go to voicetalentcoach.com.
Voicetalentcoach.com. It will look suspiciously familiar, I take it.
Yes, it will. Except that the character will have hair.
You didn't shave your head. You didn't shave your head. So.
Yeah, the person has hair on his head. That's the big difference.
Oh, no, that's totally.
And I did my first session yesterday morning.
Using this?
Yeah.
I can smell money coming in my direction from you very shortly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this too, what Fred said earlier. For the passive income part of the thing, the $97 a month module program for both the speaking and the publishing thing, we're happy to set you guys up as affiliates. If you know people who want to write books or become speakers and you want to send them along, we'll give you half of that money. We'll give you half of that $97 a month
for the people that are listening. The people who are listening that aren't in the JV group, how do they get in touch with you for that?
Just write me at Possibill, POSSIBILL at AOL.com.
There you go. And there you have it, folks.
I'll help you get set up as one of our affiliates. And if you know people that want to do this, you can be making $48 or whatever it is, $48.50 a month from everybody you sign up. If you send 10 people, you got $485.
Yep, good deal. 50% commission on a $97 monthly, and you get it every month.
If they do the whole year, you get half of $900, which is $450.
Yeah, we also sell them. We give them a discounted version of that. Hey, Bill DeWeese, this is great, man. So you set this up. You let your list know about it. You already got somebody that did one.
Yeah, I had 2 people respond immediately, and I'm trying to set up for the other one, but I had the first one yesterday.
That's perfect. And you notice the reason why this is working, and I had a long conversation on the phone yesterday with my good buddy Dave Oliver at Bipolar Central, and we were talking about the fact that, he is actually getting better results from not trying to get people to opt in, but just selling them a low-priced product. It's coming out that it's making a lot more sense. But we can talk more about that next time. We've reached pretty close to the end of our time. Any final thoughts from anyone? Bueller? So good. Thanks everyone for being on the call. Very productive time. I'm glad everyone was here. Tell your friends, tell your relatives. See you next time.